comping up project one, or conversely, adding project one to your portfolio. So here is a page in my fake portfolio. If you've been following along, you can see that I have a back button and everything else, but I have a grid, right? I'm working with parent pages. These items are on the parent page, so they show up on every page. These three boxes are going to represent the three related words, and these three boxes are for my sketches. If I don't show a comp, and I'm not suggesting that you have to show a comp on every page, then I would consider showing process sketches, just so that there's a little something something when you kind of show this stuff off, whether it's to upper division or it's to an agency that you're applying for, or it's to a prospective client. You just want to, put your best foot forward. So I have here, let's do it the easy way first. I have in my folder here a couple of student examples that I just chose at random. So here is Martin's project one. Let me pop it open. And literally I just closed my eyes and chose. So I hope nobody feels left out. So this is project one. And just as a reminder, project one is done on 3 separate artboards in Adobe Illustrator. So let's just keep that in front of us. I want to put those 3 artboards here. So I'm just going to double check because we did squares. So I'm going to go in and make sure that these are perfect squares, right? So you can see what I'm doing. I'm checking the dimensions. This is the width, this is the height. Might as well make it easy for myself before I begin. Come on. Okay. I'm going to put my finger on the shift key and grab all 3 boxes. I'm going to go to File, Place. Where are you? There it is. And I'm going to navigate on my desktop to my folder. Strongly encourage you to put everything into a subfolder. Okay, so here's project one. Whoops, there's the download. And here's Martin's file. Now here's the important part. There's the first of the artboards. There's the second artboard. There's the third artboard. I'm going to come down here and click on this button that says Show Import Options. When you have multiple files on multiple artboards, it's super important that that button is clicked. And I'm going to hit Open. There's the first one, and so I hit OK. And then I'll do it again. Place. Show import options. And see how see this little kind of, there we go, little menu. I'm going to click on it. Now I want the second one. I'll hit OK. I'll grab the third one and I'll place. And I'll hit, and again, make sure it's on, hit OK. 2, 3, good. And then I grab all 3 of them and I go to Object, Fitting, Fit Content Proportionally. This is going to take a second. There we go. Now, I knew that those were squares, and so I made perfect squares to bring them in, and so I don't have to fiddle with this at all. And then here I would bring in the sketches just to show the process that got me from here to here. And if there was something different, like if I started with a very different looking sketch, maybe I'd put a note in that says I started one way and I discovered that it wasn't working, and so I course corrected. Sorry, taking a drink of water. So this is the easy way to do it. Let's look at something a little bit more complicated. I'm going to take Martin's project and I'm going to come up to project one. These files, these template files, project 1, project 2, project 3, are in week 16 of Brightspace. I was at war with FIT for a while, but they've turned the class back on. You have access to all of these files. So if you go to week 16, you'll find all of these files. So these particular files, these Adobe stock files, you can see they're not well, some of them are PSD files, but what I'm looking for is a PSDT file. The T stands for template. If I go to Adobe Stock, and you should have access to this yourselves, and I go to Stock and Marketplace, I'm looking for a template, and I'll say 3 square posters. And then I go to Adobe Stock. These are all template files, right? And you say, well, big deal. What does that mean? Well, I'll show you in 1 second. As I mentioned in class, you really want to use a template file rather than a simple JPEG. I'll show you why. So I'm going to open up this template file. So here is the template file. These are the layers in Photoshop. And you say, well, I don't know Photoshop, Chris. That's cool. Because they're templates, the place where you put your poster is marked very, very clearly. Your image here, your image here, your image here. So I'm going to double click here. This is a smart object. This is the smart object. And because I asked for a square poster, I have a square here. So now I'm going to go back to Martin's file. Where is it? Project 1, Martin. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to export the artboards as PNGs. I'm going to go to File, Export, Export As. I'll ask for a PNG and I'll say use the artboard. If this isn't clicked on, you get one enormous PNG with all 3 files. If it's clicked on, I'm going to get 3 separate PNG files, which is exactly what I want. And I'm going to hit Export. And I'm going to not do screen, I'm going to do in the middle, which is 150 ppi. That's kind of like Mama Bear, Papa Bear, Baby Bear. We want Baby Bear. We want just right. So it's not so big that it's going to choke the machine, and it's not so small, 72, that it's going to look like trash. So I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go back to where this file lives. If I right click on the name of the file, you can see it opens up this kind of path. I'm going to say reveal in the Finder. There's the AI file, and here are the 3 PNGs. So now I have these 3 artboards as separate files. I'm going to go back to this Photoshop template. I'll grab file 1 and I'll pull it in. Now, that's pretty small. I'm going to have to pull this over. And I'm not putting my finger on the Shift key. In Photoshop, not putting your finger on the Shift key guarantees you a proportional scale. It is the opposite of Illustrator and InDesign. So there, I've made it larger and it looks pretty good. And I'm going to close it. And it says, do you want to save the changes? And I say, yes, I do. So now you can see I put it in the wrong one. I put it in this one when I should have put it in this one. So let me do it again. This is a smart object. It's a placed smart object. I'm going to double click on it. And I will grab this. Pop it here. Again, don't put your finger on the Shift key. This is very strange because we spent a whole semester putting our finger on the Shift key when we want something proportionally scaled. I'll hit the Return key. I'll close the file. It says, do you want to save? I say, yeah, I want to save. Why else am I here? And it'll pop the image in. So now I'll do this one. This is the middle one. I'll open it up. And I'll go get image 2. And I'll throw it in. I'll make sure it's on top. And I'll scale it in. So this is how you create a template, or you use a template to create your mockups. Make sure that's over all the way. Hit save. All right, now I have to redo this one. Your image here, so I'll edit this one. I'll delete the old one. hit the return key to accept it as a placed file. Come on, get in there. Scale it up. Hit the return key. Hit save. Come on. There we go. Now, I'm ready to take this file and put it into my InDesign file. I just want to show you it no longer has the same name because it's a template file. When you open up a template file, it says it's a blank slate, right? It saves a copy of the file so that you don't destroy the template. So I'm going to do, I'll do save as, and I'll save this in the correct folder. I don't want things scattered all over my drive. So I'll go to the portfolio file folder. Come on. And this is project 1. So I'll put it in the project 1 folder. And I will name it project 1 comp. And it's a Photoshop file, and that's perfectly fine. A Photoshop file, use PSD. I'm going to use PSD for Photoshop document. A Photoshop file simply means that I'm going to keep all of these layers if I want to go back and edit something. Now that I have project1comp.psd, I'll go back to my template and I'm going to use, let's see how much of the space I can use. And I'll say file, place, and where is it? It's in here. All right, and I'll go object, fitting, fit content proportionally. And then I can kind of play with it. This time, finger on the shift key, because I want it to proportionally scale. I know that's confusing, but just remember, Illustrator and InDesign, finger on the shift key. Photoshop, no finger on the shift key. They're just messing with us. And there you go. So those are the two ways. There's an easy way and a more complicated way to do project 1. All right? All right. I'll show you how to do project 2 in the next video.